Every single molten sword technique that I found online was either far too long, way too complicated, or wasn't believable. So I invented my own. Contrast spot filtering takes your molten power sword to the next level, and there's no airbrushing, no glazing marathon, no nonsense, just results. What is up, boys and girls? I'm Gunnar, this is Misplaced Minis, and you are welcome. And today I'm bringing you the easiest, most visually interesting, most totally unique molten power sword tutorial on the internet. Let's get into it. To start, it's important to put down a base of off-white. This makes sure that your yellow doesn't tint by the primer. Then we're going to use our bright yellow and set the stage for our contrast spot filtering. Here we go. We're going to use transparent orange by Pro-Acryl mixed 2:1 with contrast medium, and we're going to have Lamia medium on the side. Now we're going to lean much heavier into the stippling of this one than we did in previous versions. You're going to do a nice full coat over the entire thing. Make sure it's relatively even before you start stippling. Then we're going to stipple our pattern, making sure we're using random brush strokes. You can turn your model this way and that to give it more randomness. And right now we're just focusing on getting a sort of mottled, kind of uneven look across the entire blade. And then we will switch to a reductive technique for the center where we want it to be a little bit brighter. For this, you just make sure your brush is offloaded of contrast, use your Lamia medium, go towards the center and just pull up more. If you pull away too much, you can just go in and add a little bit more contrast to the edges till you get the look that you feel is right. Work as quickly or as slowly as you want. Your Lamia medium is going to extend the working time of your contrast almost indefinitely. What you should be left with is this beautiful molten pattern that is both easy and fast. And indulge me for a minute while I talk about some color theory things, and I know it's off track, but it's important. It'll help you in this tutorial, and it'll help you with future paint jobs as well. Now, making your minis striking, which is the goal, is easier than you think, and we're not going to use technical skill to do that. Technical skill is very hard to fake, it's easy to dissect, and the Reddit Ravengers will be all over you if you post it. What we're going to use instead is visual interest. And how are we going to build visual interest? We're going to use contrast to make it visually interesting. Now there's several different kinds of contrast you can use. Contrast of color, contrast of tone, of hues, of temperature. And for this one, we're going to use contrast of temperature. Now if we pull up this reference image and we go to our color picker, we're going to notice that we have four main colors ranging from white yellow all the way to a deep warm gray. And all four of these share the properties of being warm colors in the spectrum. But we have this fifth color, which is an outlier, and it's where the steel is cooled to the point it has taken back its natural color properties, and this is more of a cool gray. We're going to introduce this later to great effect. Now we're going to take a deep red orange. I'm using red oxide from Pro-Acryl, and we're going to sponge this on to make the edges seem like they're cooling faster. We're going to offload most of this paint before we put it on, and we're just going to very gently sponge this on to create this smooth gradient. You can use CFS for this, but I like doing the sponge because it not only gives it contrast of temperature, it gives it contrast of texture as well. Pro tip, make sure you're getting your sponge damp and wringing out almost all the water before using it. Now it's looking pretty good here, and this will be your first off-ramp if you want a 5-minute molten power sword, but if you want to keep pushing it, TTRP1 is going to be to glaze in some white anywhere where you want it to appear extremely hot. I'm using white ink, but you can also use any bold acrylic watered down to a glaze consistency. Put enough coats so it hits the opacity you want. Once that's done, our next step is to glaze yellow over the white. I'm using yellow ink. This is Neon FW by Dollar Rowley, but you can use any yellow that's bright and thin down to a glaze consistency. You don't need to be very precise with this. You can just kind of put it all over the white, and you can actually stipple it into your power sword if you want to make the transition a little bit smoother in the end. Now here's another off-ramp, but if you want to push it further, TTRP2 is going to be to take a medium cellulose sponge and load it up with some dark warm gray. I'm using dark warm gray from Pro-Acryl. Offload a majority of this on a paper towel, and then you're just going to stipple it onto the power weapon anywhere where the cooling is going to be the most evident. Here it's on the edges and the very tip of the power sword. Remember to go easy on this because it's easier to go back over it than it is to take it off. Then we're going to take our same dark warm gray and do some basic edge highlighting. Remember here that dryness equals control, so don't have your paint too wet. And then we're going to do what I call edge nicking, which is where we offload a majority of the paint from the brush, and then we invert the brush so the tip is pointing away from the edge. and we lightly press down, causing the bristles to splay out, leaving individual lines that reads much more realistic as nicking than if we were to do it the other way. Now TTRP 3 is where we really bump that contrast and temperature up to 11. We're going to take a medium cool gray. I'm using slate gray by Pro Acryl. I think this is the perfect color for this. And we're just going to do edge highlighting over what we've already done with the dark warm gray, making sure to make it a little bit smaller and more subtle. Then we're going to do some stippling anywhere where we have large areas of the dark warm gray, just to sell that cooling effect to those extreme areas. Now taking that same cool gray, we're going to prep our brush for edge nicking. Remember, when edge nicking in this color, you only want to hit areas where you have the most dark warm gray. There is no need to do the entire blade in this. We are just trying to pick certain areas to increase that temperature variation and visual interest. Now we're going to start edge highlighting the center of the sword, and this is completely optional. If you like the way it looks already, definitely off ramp here and you are going to be good to go. And since you made it this far and you seem hell-bent on learning, let me throw another quick tidbit at you, and that is called the rule of two. And the rule of two applies to edge highlighting, which is already unnatural and unrealistic, but it creates visual interest, which is why we use it in the miniature community. The rule of two is designed to ground something in reality that is fundamentally unrealistic, and it simply states that you never want your edge highlighting to be more than 2 shades removed from whatever color it's going over. So applying the rule of two here tells me I don't want to go dark warm gray directly over this yellow center, so I'm going to mix red oxide and red orange to create a base. As I get closer to the power rod core, I'm going to switch to straight red orange for a small section here, and then I'm going to mix in some warm yellow with transparent orange for the areas directly across from the power rod itself. Now, if you want to call it good here, you absolutely can, but I wanted to introduce even more dark warm gray in an effort to increase visual contrast. So I stippled on the original colors, widening out the pattern a little bit as a base, and then highlighted dark warm gray over that, bringing it down almost to the top of the power rod. My final edge highlight was red oxide on areas near the power rod. TTRP 4 is painting the power rod itself. For the rod, I mixed bold titanium white with golden yellow, and for the power rod tip, I went straight bold titanium white. I went with light colors to increase realism, but if you want to increase visual interest, you can use your dark warm gray and cool gray for this instead. Finally, paint your handle in whatever color scheme you want, and you are done. And there you have it. Simple, easy to follow. This molten sword tutorial will make it look like you spent hours painting a weapon that you probably only spent 20 minutes on. And contrast spot filtering doesn't just stop with molten power swords. You can change out the base color and the contrast colors to create any number of visually interesting items. I used it to great effect on my ice axe tutorial, but pretty much the sky's the limit. Use your imagination, come up with interesting things. Let me know how it turns out. As always, we appreciate your support and hope you got something out of the tutorial. I'm Gunner, this has been a video, and we'll catch you in the next one.